Over 200 of y'all commented your Booster Course Pass hot takes. Let's go through them and rank how spicy they are. Tokyo Blur is a pretty decent track, all things considered. I got a 103 on the track in time trials, and I find the course is so much more fun in time trial than to play normally. Honestly, not that bad a take. I'd give it like a 5. I like playing a Tokyo Blur, especially in 200cc. Ritz says Piranha Plant Pipeline did not deserve to be in the Booster Course Pass. Oh my lord, that is hate. Give me a 7 out of 10 for that. I've heard a lot of hate towards the Tour City tracks, but I think it's not completely deserved. I live in Madrid, and the attention to detail Madrid Drive is amazing. I don't know if that can be applied to every city track, but at least from what I know, I can really appreciate the detail. It's so cool to see my home in one of my favorite games. I can agree. Some of the US cities they've done, New York, Los Angeles, they look incredible. Not too spicy of a take, because some people really like the tour tracks. Give me a 4 out of 10 spiciness. DK Mountain's one of the most boring tracks of the entire series. Oh, here we go. Here we go. 10 out of 10 spiciness already. Ooh! That got me. LA Labs has the worst soundtrack remake of all the Booster Course Pass. Honestly, I kind of agree. Is that a hot take? Relatively. Let's give that one a 6 out of 10. That's pretty steamy. Hot takes about the tracks. Athens and Rome are the best. Vancouver and Amsterdam not far behind. 3DS is the best track in the game. Mario Circuit 3, screw the course. Second least favorite in the entire game. Skygarden's Art Sons of Oz got butchered, while everybody else got a major glow up. None of those are really spicy picks. I think the large majority have those same opinions, so give me a 2 out of 10 on that one. Don't know if this is really a hot take, but Sky Sunday needs more love. It's an oval, yes, but has fast-paced nature to it with all the trick ramps and spin boosts you can do. Plus, I think it looks nice visually. I agree. I like Sky High Sunday. It's not one of my favorites, but it's a fun track in the Booster Course Pass to play every so often. Give me like a 4 out of 10 spiciness. Madrid Drive isn't a bland or bad course. I see tons of people bash multiple city tracks, and while some are understandably bashed like Tokyo, Madrid doesn't deserve it. Madrid's a solid track. I love Madrid. Give me like a 3 out of 10. It's not too spicy because I haven't really seen Madrid get a lot of hate. I'm gonna be honest. Rosalina's Ice Road is the only thing stopping Wave 6 from being perfect. Oh, we got like almost a double spicy take. Wave 6 being perfect. And Wave 6 is great. I don't know if it's perfect, but Rosalina's Ice Road as well. Oh, 7 out of 10. GC and Waluigi Stadium is a far better track than DS Waluigi Pinball. Oh, that is spicy. 8 out of 10. You might get some people going your way, buddy. I'd honestly take about half these tracks over Waluigi Pinball. I never understood why everyone loves it so much. For Marker DS, it's sure it's a cool track, but Mark 7A have much more better track design. The music of Waluigi Pinball is very overrated, so I probably take half the tracks over in the city courses over this track. That is insane. Pinball's not one of my favorites in the Booster Course. It's a great track. I don't know if it cracks my top 10, I'll be honest, but still, the Pinball slander go crazy, and because of that, 7 out of 10. Berlin Byways is the worst track in the game. Oh, I don't even know if I have to read the rest of it. That is a 10 out of 10 spiciness right there. No, I like Berlin Byways. The music's fire. What they say about the music? Oh, the music. What? The music sucks. Oh. I'm glad Mario Circuit DS got in over Airship Fortress. DS Mario Circuit is an extremely underrated track, and Airship Fortress has already been remade twice. Ooh. Oh, that is a spicy take. Okay, give me an 8 out of 10 for that one. I would have preferred Airship Fortress, but I also really like DS Mario Circuit, so I'm not too upset that we got this one, but over Airship Fortress, interesting choice, buddy. Non-city tour tracks are some of the biggest hits or misses of the Waves. Ninja Hideaway and Piranha Plant Cove are two of my favorite tracks in the DLC, while Sky High Sunday is your least favorite track in the whole game. Despite being a huge Yoshi Giant fan, the track didn't stick out that much to me. When you put DK Summit in, it tends to drag my attention towards it, since it's my second favorite marker track of all time. Interesting take. I'd probably just give that a 5 out of 10. Yeah, I know some non-tour cities are either hits or misses. I think that's generally a solid consensus, with Sky High Sunday and Merry Mountain relatively being the lower end of them all. So yeah, 5 out of 10. Captain Mudkip saying, even though the Booster Course Pass version of Coconut Mall is worse than the Wii's, it's still an S tier track and gets way too much hate. Nothing brings down my favorite track in the series. Oh, very interesting. That's pretty spicy. I'll give that a 6 out of 10 because in my opinion, they kind of messed up Coconut Mall a little bit, but it's still a pretty strong track. Like, I don't know what they did. Maybe it's just Marco 8's engine. It didn't really do it too well in my opinion, but I respect it. Yeah, Coconut Mall, honestly, not too bad. The new tracks are better than the majority of the retro tracks. Squeaky and Sprint alone is better than all of them except for the Rainbow Roads, Coconut Mall, and Mushroom Gorge. Oh, so he's saying the Tour non-city tracks are the best tracks in the entire Booster Course Pass. Okay, that's pretty spicy. It's nothing too crazy. Give me a 4 out of 10 for that one. We're getting extinct every day, but I think Marker Wii is still better than 8 Deluxe. Don't get me wrong, I love 8 Deluxe and play it almost every day, but the gameplay is much more fun and exciting on Wii. 8 Deluxe has better tracks on paper, but they are dumbed down and not that fun. The maps feel smaller. They're not as much shortcuts because because of strict mom Lakitu also feels flat. CPUs are much more aggressive and the gameplay is more chaotic. Interesting. I love Wii, don't get me wrong, but I think this addition to the Booster Course Pass, adding all the characters and just the quality of life upgrades, kind of push 8 Deluxe over the edge for me. I think that's kind of a spicy take. I'm going to say 6 out of 10. I know a lot of people really still love Wii. I love Wii. Wii is fantastic, but I'm going to have to go with 8 Deluxe still. I actually think Toad Circuit doesn't look that bad. It's the fact that it's a Star Trek makes me feel like a wasted slot that bugs me about it. Oh man, that is spicy. Oh wow, 10 out of 10. Toad Circuit looks rough. I was a Toad Circuit defender back in the Wave 1 days. I still like to play on the track, but you have to admit that, oh, compared to the rest of them, it looks horrible. But it's still a fun track to race on. That's my opinion. Wave 3 is the best wave. Also, Singapore Speedway is the only really good track in Wave 4. One of my favorites. Also, Sky Sunday is a great track in this game. A solid A-tier track. Lots of fun. Okay, so a couple of things. If you average them all together, I'd say 5 out of 10. Wave 3 being the best. I've heard that one before, honestly. Singapore being the only good Wave 4 track is wild. I think there's a lot of good Wave 4 tracks. And Sky High Sunday is a great track. I like Sky High Sunday as well, but I know not a lot of people do. So yeah, 5 out of 10 spiciness. Sunset Wild should have been swapped out for Yoshi Desert the Water and Koopa Cape. Looks bad because it's way more white than blue. Honestly, like 3 out of 10 spiciness. These are two very common things. People talk about how messed up Koopa Cape's water is in that water section in general, and everybody knows that Sunset Wilds was heavily botched. Sunset Wilds is the best GBA track in the entire game, even including base game, and one of the best tracks overall. I feel like you are just joking and specifically trying to get into the top tier of spiciness. There is no way that you believe, you know what, I feel like maybe there has to be one person out there that thinks that Sunset Wilds is just the best GBA track or one of the best tracks in the entirety of Mario Kart 8. Of all 96 tracks, there has to be one person out there that thinks Sunset Wilds is the best track in the entire game. That might be you, and if so, 10 out of 10 spiciness. Why not? Cassie says, with pleasure. Oh boy. GBA Snowland, insanely overrated and not memorable at all. Coconut Mall looks better than 8 than it does on 7, and Wii Sydney Sprint is the most memorable tour track because of its song alone, and London Loop is actually really good, and also I Miss Gambling. That was a member stream inside joke. Give me like a 7 out of 10. I think you got some spicy takes. GBA Snowland, I think it's a fun track, but understandable if you don't think so. Coconut Mall looks better in 8. I think it might look better in 8, although Wii's is just iconic and classic, but I can see it. Sydney Sprint being memorable and London Loop is really good. Solid. I think GBA Snowland being overrated is what pushes the spiciness meter, so I'll still give you 7 out of 10. Waluigi Pinball is not overrated. Literally everyone says that it's mid and no one picks it online. Interesting. All right, let me give you a 5 out of 10 for that one. There seems to be a little bit of a consensus. I know a lot of people that do like Waluigi Pinball, but then there are also some people that don't. If you're one of those that do like Waluigi Pinball, then hey, I mean, credit to you. I don't know if I call that a hot take, but hey, 5 out of 10, why not? Rosina's Ice Road has a better remix than Wii Rainbow Road. Its ethereal beauty almost makes me tear up. Whoa, it is a beautiful song. It's a beautiful remix. Yeah, it's not bad. Over Wii Rainbow Road? Spicy. 7 out of 10. I hate DK Mountain. The remix is not the same as that classic soundtrack we listened to in Double Dash Wii 7 and Tour. Also feels pretty clunky to drive and feels too long in 200cc. I'm sorry to all those fans. I'd love to be in the group, but I can't. I understand you. Weird that this is the only soundtrack version of DK Mountain that you hate, despite it being in Double Dash Wii 7 and Tour. I love DK Mountain. I really like the track. It's not my favorite version of DK Mountain, but it's still a really fun track. 200cc, it is a pain to drive. I'm not gonna lie. I have not learned DK Mountain at all. Understandable. I'm gonna give you a 9 out of 10 for this one, especially for hating on the soundtrack. I like the soundtrack. I think it's a nice upgrade from what we've gotten before. Yeah, it's simpler in the older versions of the game, but this one adds some more jungly life to it, with the lack of a better word, but okay, to each their own. Daisy Cruiser's mid, LA Labs is the best in the game, and Daisy Circuit is A tier and the best of Wave 6. Woo. I agree with you on Daisy Cruiser being mid, but the other two, I don't necessarily agree with you, especially that last point. So overall, let me give you a 7 out of 10 spiciness. Fritz Games again saying 3DS Rainbow Road is pretty mid and boring. 8 out of 10 spiciness right there. I think a lot of people, including myself, like 3DS Rainbow Road. It's an interesting track. I don't know if I like it over 7's version. Still a fun track to play. Berlin Byways is such a messy course. I don't think it translated well from mobile to console at all. Interesting, Bumblebee. Very interesting. I think it's one of the cleaner courses in the game, but understandable, to each their own. I'll give you a 7 out of 10 spiciness for that one. Berlin Byways, the thing is they start with Berlin Byways 2, then go to 3, then go to 1. I think Berlin Byways 3 is the messiest of them all. If you just had Berlin Byways 2 and 1, it would probably feel a bit cleaner. I can understand with 3 kind of messing things up a little bit, but to each their own. Daisy Circuit is a perfectly fine in the past and is a way better choice than Mushroom Bridge. Not sure if that's actually a hot take, but that's my opinion. That's a hot take to me. Oh my lord. I would have much preferred Mushroom Bridge over Daisy Circuit. 7 out of 10. I'm dishing out a lot of 7 out of 10 spiciness. This is pretty good. Waluigi Stadium got nerfed with the remake. Oof. All right, 6 out of 10 for that one. I feel like there's people on both sides of the fence that I've seen before. I think the graphics look incredible on Waluigi Pinball. I just think it played so incredibly well on Wii that no matter what they did to it on 8, it was never going to play as well as it did on Wii. Wii's played better than it did on Double Dash. Let's get that straight as well. The graphics in this one looks far superior than any of the other Waluigi stadiums that came before, but 6 out of 10 spiciness. 3DS Rainbow Road is overrated. I mean, common one. I'll give you like a 5 out of 10 for that one. Again, relatively tame because it's just a standard hot take. Nothing that blows my mind. Hot take, I think Waluigi Pinball is the worst DS track in the Booster Course Pass. Now I gotta think what the DS tracks are. What do we got? I don't know how to rate this one. I guess I'm gonna give this one a 4 out of 10. It took me a while to think about, but then thinking of all the other ones, they did Peach Gardens a bit better, and I think just by sheer improvement, Mario Circuit's even a little bit better. Waluigi Pinball's fine. I just don't like Shroom Ridge at all. So understandable. I'll still give you a 4 out of 10 spiciness though. All the music from any Wii/Wii Retro sounds better in the original Wii game. They 8 Deluxe's Booster Course Pass. Whoa! Now that's spicy. Maybe it just comes to personal preference. Some people like the electronic based music from Margaret Wii as opposed to a live orchestra from 8 Deluxe. I can completely understand that one. I'm gonna give that a 6 out of 10 though, just because I feel like it's almost one of those things that 8 Deluxe music is just objectively better. To each their own, like I said. Singapore Speedway is a C-tier track at most. It's mostly gliding in straightaways. The sun not setting in Sunset Wilds isn't the biggest issue of the track. The layout is flat out bad here, especially with the mud. Woo! DK Mountain gets worse with every entry. Looks ugly here, very mediocre gaming wise. Maple Tree was the ugliest track of Wave 3. The harsh colors, low poly modeling, and detailed textures don't mesh well. Wow, this is a 9 out of 10 spiciness. Literally all these points, with the exception of the Sunset Wilds one, are pretty darn spicy. Oh my goodness. DK Mountain again, slander again. Maple Treeway, I guess I'll have to take a look at that again. I didn't think it looked that bad, but maybe, I don't know. And then I adore Singapore Speedway. I really like it, but I guess, yeah, it's not everyone's cup of tea. Wow. Sunset Wilds in the Booster Course Pass is pretty good. Better than half the circuits that were added in the Booster Course Pass. Sunset looks great. What sunset? But the sunset not being in this version, I'm still fine by this rather disappointing change. Okay, I'll give you a 6 out of 10. 3DS Rainbow Road really isn't that good. With the road is pretty placed too easily, and the road is quite wide. It's much less situationally open compared to Marker 7, which had so many cool shortcuts and techniques. That's my take. Marker 7's Rainbow Road was really out there and really fun. This one is still pretty fun as well. I wouldn't necessarily call it as fun as 7's. I wouldn't necessarily call it a bad track though. I do like your explanation here. Really isn't that good. Seems like you don't like it that much at all, which is kind of spicy, so I'll give you a 6 out of 10. Lukewarm take, kind of surprised we never got GBA Rainbow Road on this. Oh, I would have loved GBA Rainbow Road. Again, kind of a lukewarm take as well. I understand. I'll give you a 3 out of 10. Nothing too crazy. I personally would have loved the GBA Rainbow Road on this one as well, and I think a lot of people wanted all the Rainbow Roads in there, so it's understandable. Mushroom Bridge should have come to the BCP instead of DK Mountain. I just find traffic courses enjoyable. Yes, even Toad's Turnpike. Figure 8 should have been the BC. Oh my Figure 8. I don't know if I agree about Paris Promenade, but it is. No, I don't agree about Paris Promenade, but it is. I do like Paris Promenade. But Figure 8, 10 out of 10. No, keep that track sideline forever. That. Oh my lord. The Booster Course Pass didn't start to consistently look up to par with base game visuals until Wave 6. I'll have to take another look. I thought some Wave 4 tracks looked pretty good. I mean, I guess that's not the spiciest take of all time, but I'll still give you like a 7 out of 10 because I feel like Wave 4 and 5 were starting to look pretty good, and even a couple of Wave 3 tracks look good as well. But it's, again, consistently with Wave 6, I can kind of see, but I'll still give you a 7 out of 10. SNES Mario Circuit 3 is so much fun both online and again on 200cc time trials. I agree. I like to race on Mario Circuit 3 gameplay wise. It's not a fun track to look at and the design is not good, but I just like to race on it. I don't know why. I just like that it's all flat and just got a couple of challenging turns. It's a fun track to race on. I agree. I know a lot of people despise the track. Give me a 5 out of 10. Nothing too crazy because I kind of agree with it. Maple Tree is boring and a bad track to end a cup. Interesting. Maybe that's some Wii bias going in there, thinking that it only needs to be the third track as opposed to the fourth. I think it fits pretty darn well as the last track in Wave 3. I don't think any other track would have ended it pretty solidly. I guess you can make the case for Merry Mountain, but I think Maple Tree is a solid cup ender. I'm going to give you a 6 out of 10 for that one because it's a long track. I think it's the longest track in the entire Booster Course Pass, besides Wii Rainbow Road, but wow. We should have Down Down Jungle over DK Mountain. Mountain and Summit in the same again, and Summit and Mountain play very similar. I know, I did notice that as well. We got DK Summit and DK Mountain in the exact same game again. I honestly wouldn't have minded as much. I like DK Mountain more, but I also really like Down Down Jungle. So if we got that, that would have been kind of cool as well. Give me like a 5 out of 10 on that one. That one's not too crazy. Funky Kong is overrated. GBA Sky Garden is underrated. Marker 7's invincibility theme is off key. I don't really get that third one, but those other two combined them. Sky Garden is honestly more of the shock than Funky Kong. Well, no, not really. I know people don't like Funky Kong from time to time. Some people don't like Funky Kong. They like to hate. Sky Garden, it's a fine track. It's not my favorite. It's probably bottom half for sure. I'll give you a 5 out of 10. Nothing too crazy. Wave 1 doesn't look as bad as most people say it does. Sure, it leaves some to be desired compared to the other 5, but it looks good for what it is. I low-key agree a little bit. Like, I like how Paris Promenade looks. Chocolate Mountain looks kind of fine. Coconut Mall looks good, and Ninja Hideaway is pretty darn solid as well. Only a couple of tracks bring it down, like Sky Garden and Toad Circuit. Overall, a pretty darn solid wave. Granted, the other waves blow it out of the water graphically, but still, Wave 1 is not horrible to look at. Some tracks are, but not all of them. So I'm going to say not a bad take. I'll give you a 5 out of 10. Wave 5 was a pretty mid wave. It had a lot of flaws that people didn't point at too much. I can kind of agree. There's some tracks I really like. I'd explained this last week in last week's video. Yeah, not that crazy of a take. Wave 5 was generally the weakest of the last 3 waves according to everybody, so I'll give you a 4 out of 10. Fire Yoshi says Madrid Drive is my least favorite Wave 6 track. It's growing me, but apart from the stadium museum sections, the track feels like it could be any other daytime city track, especially Amsterdam Drift and maybe even Tokyo Blur. Interesting. I think Madrid Drive has, you know, its own unique difference. I could see it being like a longer version of Tokyo Blur. I understand that. But one, I think the music is absolutely phenomenal. I think the routes on lap 1 and lap 3 are pretty strong with the museum and the soccer stadium. Just huge soccer bias here. And also, it's in the same wave as Daisy Circus. So, I mean, there's that. So, spiciness, give me a 6 out of 10. Nothing too crazy. Vinny Boy says, I know people are saying that Rosalina's Ice World sucks, but I actually don't mind. The track remix sounds really good, and the track seems detailed yet simple. I would still prefer Pipeline over Ice Road. Nothing too crazy. I've seen a lot of people say that they like Rosalina's Ice Road, so I'll give you like a 4 out of 10. Nothing too insane here. Yes, Mario Circuit's a worthy addition to the Booster Course Pass. Had lots of fun turns, fire spitting run-up lands, and even a cool forest section with the Wiggler. Probably my favorite circuit track besides Yoshi's Circuit. Wow. Sunset Wilds is the most overhated track of the Booster Course Pass. Its layout is simple but fun. The music is incredible and so catching. The aesthetics are gorgeous. The textures look really good. And despite the track no longer setting, you can't deny that the skybox is simply beautiful. Also, the Dancing Shy Guys are awesome. On average, I'm giving you an 8 out of 10. That Sunset Wilds take is insane. I don't blame you. The music's kind of nice and the track does look pretty decent, but I don't think it's a good design. I don't think it's fun to race on, in my humble opinion. There's just something about it. I think it's too quick of a track, very flat. Like, there's certain instances where tracks being flat work, but Sunset Wilds is one of those that there's just too many inconveniences in that track that it doesn't work for me. Just not one of my favorites. But so overall, 8 out of 10. That Diaz Mario Circuit take being your favorite city track is also kind of wild. You got Mario Circuit base game. That's all you really need. And Yoshi Circuit's pretty darn good too, but you didn't mention that, so 8 out of 10. Madrid Drive is so overrated and did not deserve to be in Spiny Cup. Rome, Athens, or Vancouver deserved it much more. Wow. I'll give you a 7 out of 10. I really like Madrid Drive. I can understand. Yeah, Vancouver, I think, was supposed to be in Wave 6, but they brought it to Wave 5 for some reason, so they switched it up a little bit. I don't mind it being in the Spiny Cup, like ending it all. It is what it is. You have to have at least one tour track in every cup. That's what they did. Madrid Drive, ending it, you know, soccer theme, museum theme, all that stuff. Pretty pretty darn solid. So yeah, 7 out of 10 take. Toad's Factory only became a fan favorite after people began to notice it wasn't getting in the Booster Course Pass and hasn't been remade since. It's a good track, but even I will admit I'm under this umbrella. So you're rooting for Toad's Factory, but you're saying it only became a fan favorite because people noticed it wasn't coming to the Booster Course Pass. I think people overall liked Toad's Factory no matter what. It was a pretty talked about track all throughout Wii's tenure, I believe. Still a decent take, not necessarily Booster Course Pass related for the most part. I'll give you a 5 out of 10. It's an interesting take. I don't know if it's super spicy, but like, it's not bad. Wave 6 is so trash. I have a feeling that you're just doing this to get the 10 out of 10 spiciness. It's a pretty top tier spiciness. I'll give you 9 out of 10 for it though, because I just don't know if you're serious about that. It's just, I don't know if I believe that. Blue IB says Vancouver is one of the most overrated tracks in the Booster Course Pass. I hate to agree with you, but like it kind of is. I love the track. Don't get me wrong. They made a whole rap about it. There is something about it though that does seem it's a little lacking. I do think lap 1 is probably its strongest lap. I think the lap's quality decreases over time. It's a fun track to me. I enjoy listening to the music. I love the visuals, but design wise, it could be improved a little bit in my humble opinion. So I'll give you a 6 out of 10 cool. New Sky Garden better than the old one. Oh, whoa. Now this is spicy. Better than the old one. 8 out of 10 immediately. Woo! The best song in the Booster Course Pass is Tokyo Blur. Even though the track on it kind of sucks, Tokyo Blur is the only bad city track. Every other one is fantastic. Wow. The best song in the entire 48 track Booster Course Pass, Tokyo Blur. 9 out of 10 spiciness. Wow. I like it. But the best? Woo! Mostly the tour tracks I usually prefer in tour, except for Athens, which is the best city on 8 Deluxe. Oh, and Athens should have been in the Spiny Cup instead of Madrid. Okay, people are saying this one. Well, this is the second one I've seen. Interesting take. Most of the tour tracks you usually prefer in tour, they were made for tour. Understandable. Like they're odd ones out when it comes to 8 Deluxe. I'll give you a 7 out of 10 for that one though, just because overall people just tend to like 8 Market 8's controls over tours. So I'll give you a 7 out of 10. Having 1116 Nitro Wii tracks in Market 8 is possibly kind of way too many, especially when they cut tracks like Airship Fortress, Pamp Pipeline, Dragon Bazaar, Koopa Beach, GB Luigi Circuit, or Bowser Castle 4. They did have so many tracks that they could have added. I might have to agree a little bit. 11 out of 16 Wii tracks might be a little much, but overall, I do like the Wii support that we got overall, so I'm not that upset at it. We got some good tracks from Mario Kart Wii, which is pretty darn solid, and plus you're also including all the Wii tracks that are in base game, so we're not talking about just Wii tracks that were added in the Booster Course Pass specifically. Overall, 6 out of 10 take. I think I've heard it before. It's a lot of Wii tracks in 8 Deluxe. Snowland is the worst inclusion of the Booster Course Pass. It's not interesting or fun enough to warrant the inclusion praise. It's visually boring. Not that fun to race. Nintendo wanted the GBA track to return other than Snowland. They could have picked Bowser Castle 3, Lakeside Park, Luigi Circuit, even Shy Guy Beach. All those have a much more interesting theme and have better layouts. Wow. So I am going to disagree with you heavily here. When it comes to the original Game Boy Advance, I think Snowland is the best track out of all the ones you just mentioned. Bowser Castle 4 is okay, or you didn't mention Bowser Castle 3. And Lakeside Park is pretty good. I'm starting to like that one too, but Snowland just looks phenomenal. The music's great, and I think the upgrade they gave 8 Deluxe is incredible. I'm gonna give you an 8 out of 10 here. That is spicy. Toad Circuit, nice addition to the Booster Course Fest, and I don't mind the graphics. In my opinion, it's an underrated track, and the music is amazing. Again, I like to race on it, and the music's pretty darn solid. The graphics, though, when you compare it to the rest of the Booster Course Pass, I'll give you a 6 out of 10 for that one, because quite a few people so far have said that Toad Circuit, they don't mind it. The Woo tracks deserves a spot more than Toad's Factory and Koopa Cape. You know what? That's not that bad of a take. I'll give you like a 5 out of 10 because, you know, like, that's kind of spicy, but not too spicy. I do think the Woo tracks would have been a great inclusion. Granted, we never got Toad's Factory, but Koopa Cape, yeah, kind of a mid track as well. Mario Circuit 3 is good. That's it. That's the take. 4 out of 10. Nothing too crazy there. Ninja Hideaway is the 3rd best track in all of 8 Deluxe. Base game and DLC includes difficulty is amazing, theming is goated, and music goes hard. Also, Pauline's the worst addition, even worse than Peach. Her character is generally the worst in the Mario series due to her boring, annoying personality. The only reason she gets recognized is, she came back in Odyssey, making her the best Mario character when she's actually the worst of all Mario girls, including Rosalina. Wow. Okay, so your Ninja Hideaway take is honestly not that bad. That's chill spiciness. But Pauline, though, I think her getting revived in Odyssey was really good. Think of it like her making her debut in Mario Odyssey. The only reason that you might not like Pauline is because she originated as Mario's original damsel in distress. It was also like a sub character in the Mario vs. Donkey Kong series, but now she has this major role in Odyssey, and she's kind of getting the Rosalina treatment where she's coming back into each and every game. Her thing is that like she's a singer. I think that Pauline has become like her own personality now. She's not just any random damsel in distress anymore. Like she's got her own character, which makes her honestly a pretty strong inclusion. I think your Pauline take is a lot spicier than your Ninja Hideaway take. I'm gonna give you a 7 out of 10 overall on average because I think the Ninja take is a very tame take, a lukewarm take, but your Pauline take is spicy.